Hey guys, and I'm just here to talk to you guys about Tinker Creek, which is our book for next year. And right here is just a silly picture of me and Katniss, and I'm just showing the differences between how we both volunteered as tribute for our given tasks. Katniss is all adamant because it's her sister, of course, and I'm kind of like, oh, whatever. It's a book, but this book is still super important, and this was just meant to be funny. But this book is super important to try to help us get to state next year. Pilgrim at Tinker Creek, and this is just going to be the first half of the book, guys. Here's the author, Annie Dillard. She's born in 1945, and she's still swinging today. She was born in Pittsburgh, and she's written 15 other books, but nobody really cares about those other books. We just care about Tinker Creek. And of course, here's the book. It is really not a story, and it doesn't have a super main plot. Like you can't really follow it, and you can't really, and there's not a lot of characters. But it's really a more of an essay, kind of really more of a collection of short essays, in which authors are trying, in which she's trying to give us examples on how nature can help us solve life's problems. And then here's just some quick hitters and main concepts, such as setting, characters, chapter plots and summaries, and then like the underlining theme of the whole story. And then the setting is that it takes place in the land surrounding Tinker Creek, which is located in the Blue Ridge Mountains, and those are in Roanoke, Virginia. Beautiful this time of year. Characters, I'm just kidding. It's more like a character. This book, the only real character is an unnamed narrator who can be pictured as a young girl, and I think she has a transcendentalist kind of point of view, which means that she looks to nature to find answers, and that's why she spends so much time at Tinker Creek. Hence, Pilgrim at Tinker Creek. Chapter 1. So, okay, guys, the story, it's pretty slow. It starts off really slow, but you have to really just get into it, just dive into it, just sit down one day and say, I'm just going to read this book. Spark notes and everything else helps. This is going to help you, I hope. But in all honesty, you have to just sit down and read the book. So, it's a little slow at the beginning, but you just have to sit down and read it. So, it's going to take you, it takes us on a journey through the natural world and in the land surrounding Tinker Creek, and which is the unnamed author's home. And it toys with our emotions a lot because she provides us with uplifting stories, and then she also brings us down with depressing viewpoints, also that as defined by nature. And then she also shows us through nature how different animals and species survive and how we can learn from them. All right, in chapter 2, we can really use this as a self-examination of our own lives because with her little short story about the penny, about how she hides pennies when she was a child and how she would find an unlikely spot somewhere close to her home, and then she would hide, of course, hide the penny, and then she would leave little notes and little signs and stuff so that when people walked down and said, ooh, there's a prize, it ended up being the penny, which just helps us show, which just shows us that if people can get excited about finding a penny, what can we get excited about in our own everyday walk in our own everyday lives? Because we have so much to be thankful for, and we're so blessed. So that's pretty much what what this little short story is just trying to convey, is that we're super blessed beyond measure, and that we need to celebrate the little victories in our lives, like finding pennies. We're actually already halfway there, so hit your neighbor if they're asleep. And I mean, the book's not boring. The book's boring, but I'm not boring. So come on, guys. Come on, let's go. We're almost there. Chapter 3, and this chapter is exciting because it's not all about Tinker Creek, even though it still is. It's talking about how the starlings are European birds that migrate towards the area surrounding Tinker Creek for the winter, and how the villagers or the townspeople, if you want to call them that, how much they hate the birds and how much of a nuisance they are and how they try to eradicate them unsuccessfully. And it shows how the narrator feels very indifferent towards the starlings, and also it it shows how the narrator also spies on other creatures since it's during the wintertime, and she can see how some species thrive while others just hold on for dear survival. Chapter 4. The narrator is then this just gives a little insight into the narrator's past. It talks about how she was back in elementary school and how she used to collect mantises, which would help protect her garden. And her elementary teacher, would also she grab mantises and have them in class, and it showed how the mantises would prey on each other and kill each other until there were none of them left. So she is just really disturbed, but the narrator is just really disturbed about this, and she wants to figure out why there's so much, why insects, which are incredibly numerous, why are their brains so focused on instincts rather than using reasonable thought? Because they would benefit from using reasonable thought, so there wouldn't be so much violence and death between insect species. Chapter 5. This is nice and easy, guys. Really, really short and easy. The narrator is determined to notice the moment the season changes, and she quotes Van Gogh saying that people are sensitive to changing seasons, and it's like that, guys. It's not a very hard chapter. You could probably read it in 5 or 10 minutes. All right, chapter 6. Now this one's a doozy. Oh, this one's a beatdown. I had trouble getting through this one. But always remember this. So remember this maxim. Greatness is earned, not given. Yeah, that's me. So I copyrighted that, but you can tell people I said it. And it's pretty much just talking about how she contemplates her relationship with nature and with the trees, and she talks about how sycamores, which are located near Timber Creek, early in the spring, and she realizes that that trees are central to all creatures, and how important they are, and she uses an allusion to Xerxes, who was a god king of Babylon, and ooh, didn't think I knew that one. And how he stopped his advance. He stopped his whole army's advance for a few days in order to meditate on the beauty of a sycamore tree. So she's pretty much just showing examples of how important trees are, and then she also states an example of how important water is to survival. As she says, water heals her, and she also is saying how trees stir the memories and the waters heal them. So she believes that trees and water help heal her pains and errors. That's why she goes to Timber Creek. Chapter 7. This one's pretty short. So I actually like this one because it gave me a break from chapter 6, because that was brutal. Spring is in full bloom, and it's just talking about how spring is in full bloom, and how the narrator is captivated by birds singing, and the evolutionary process behind how birds used to be reptiles, and she just contemplates how revolutionary and how cool that would be if a lizard started singing instead of the bird. Yeah, a little funky. Alright, we're almost here. I swear to goodness gracious, we have like 4 slides left. You can do it. Oh yeah, hit your neighbor if they're asleep. Chapter 8. It's the last chapter that we're going over today, and it's pretty much, we started from the bottom and now we're in the middle. Let's go, guys. And she talks about how her goldfish is swimming, and she talks about how she dissects it, and how light really helps her in her observations of nature. And she also describes how much she loves Tinker Creek, and how she thinks that everything in creation has a purpose and a place. All right, and here's the underlining point and theme. Note, this book doesn't really have a real purpose, or the purpose is skewed because of the different short essays that it cultivates, and how it gives varying viewpoints. all throughout all, but it all connect. Just remember, it connects everything back to nature, which connects everything back to the environment, which connects everything back to Act Dec, which is what we're trying to learn, which is about the environment. And and then and then there's a helpful video. The link's in here, so if you actually take the time to come back and look at it, it gives a really good insight. I actually think the guy's like way better than me because he's like out in the woods and stuff. He's going back to nature and he's giving his viewpoints on the book, and he clearly liked it more than I did. So, and finally, Mama, we made it. We made it through the whole new book, guys. This is so great. I'm so pumped for this year. We are going to win state. It's awesome. Oh wait, that's only half the book. Well, thank you guys. Have a great day.